Okay. There's Jim.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
United
States
States
of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, see if we can go through this one at a time. You all should have a copy of the minutes from the February meeting. If there are no additions, deletions, corrections, or amendments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as mailed.
I'll move.
I'll second it.
I think that was Ken and Tom.
Okay,
Jenny.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, real quick, we'll go through these things. You probably read in the paper, Church Street Bridge. We are letting the bid on that now. That should be coming out. They should start tearing down that house pretty soon. It's scheduled to be probably about a 6 to 8 week project, and it'll start probably in April. Second thing, and you know, we've had some IT issues here at the town, and we hired a new guy to give us a hand, and it turned out to be a little bigger than he thought. I've been working with Tom on this, and we've kind of got back to square one almost, and we've mutually decided to part ways with him, which is fine. He's okay with that because he's so busy, and it's difficult for him to take care of us because he's a nights and weekends guy, and we need stuff during the day. So Tom and I are working with another company to come in and help us out and get us back to square one and get us going. And the third thing I have is the emergency health plan, which is a requirement that we have this done by by April 1st. I think I sent you all a copy of the Town of Granville emergency health plan. I basically wrote it on the template from the state. I hope you had a chance to look at it. Does anybody have any comments, changes, or anything they want to amend?
Looks fine to me.
Yeah, if not, we'll pass it, and then I'm required to hand out a copy to every employee, post a copy here, and post a copy on our website. So if you guys are okay with it, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Town of Granville emergency health plan.
I'll
Make the
move.
motion.
We have a motion by Ken, second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll take care of that. Budget officers report. Joel has sent out to all of you the situation that we are in. Of course, we're only 2 months into the calendar year. There's no amendments. There's nothing to highlight. This is his worst time of the year, obviously. So he's not with us tonight. If you have any questions regarding the situation, I'll be glad to answer them if I can. If not, we'll get a hold of him and have him get back to us. But I think it's all pretty straightforward this early in the year. Everybody okay with the budget officers report as presented?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Sole assessors report. I'm pretty sure that I sent that out to you also, but I'll read it so it's in the minutes. March 1st has arrived as the deadline for exemptions, filing, and renewal. All exemptions have been filed and have been recorded appropriately on the 2021 assessment roll. Sales have continued to be input as they received from the county. I've spent the majority of my time during the last month finishing up valuation on the assessment roll so that notices can be sent to property owners. Due to problems with the software that is currently used from New York State, it is not going to be possible to send out the disclosure notices as previously reported. We will be sending out change of assessment notices, which will indicate what their change in assessment will be for the upcoming assessment roll. I will also include the attached letter, which I believe you got a copy of, to explain the process and offer property owners an opportunity to have a conversation with me regarding their new value if they wish. I will be out in the field the next couple of weeks, continuing the reviewing of building permits and their completion as information is provided from the county to update pictures accordingly. I also continue to review properties of the property owners who are requesting revaluing their properties. I'm in my office on Granville on Mondays from 9 to noon, and the clerk is in the office on Mondays and Wednesdays 9 to 1. Any questions or concerns, I can be reached at my town email address or my cell phone, 518-902-3309, respectfully submitted, Vicky Hayner.
When are they going to send that out?
I believe those letters will be going out the end of this month.
I just want to make sure our phones are working before they do.
Yeah, exactly. It will, yeah, it'll be in our best interest as we work on the budget for next year that we try to keep the levy as low as even as possible so that we can compare apples and apples.
I got a question there, Matt, regarding this. The other letter that we got, I'm assuming that's going out to all the residents?
I believe that is going out to all the residents. Oh, I believe that is going out to everybody who has a change in assessment.
Okay,
I'm
I'm a
not-
little
I'm not-
confused here. Because we talked about, we want to make sure when their assessment change to show them what their taxes are going to do.
Right.
In this letter, it says the average increase in value for the parcel in town was 14 to 16%.
Right.
If your increase was around that, you'll see very little changes in your taxes. If the increase was more than that, you'll expect that your taxes will increase. If your increase was less than 14%, you expect your taxes will decrease. I'm hoping on the other page, it tells you right to the penny.
On what other page?
There, because your changes, the figures aren't on this one. I
No.
figured this was just a cover sheet.
Right. I think that's the way I understood it too, Matt.
Due to the problems with the software that is used from New York State, it is not going to be possible to send out the disclosure notices as previously
What is
reported.
the disclosure notice? Tell me what disclosure notice is. What is that notice?
I don't know, Matt.
Can you
I don't
give
know,
me a
Matt. I don't know, Matt. That's why I sent this out to you 4 days ago. So if you had any questions, you're going to let me know. I don't know the answer to those questions. Best bet is to call Vicky.
What, remember we talked about it last month, and when the notices, we're gonna make sure that everybody knows
How much their taxes were changing. Exactly. That's why this report, which he wrote for this week, says because of the problems with the software with New York State, that is not going to be possible.
I didn't think that was disclosure notice. I thought that was some other legal garbage. I know that was the actual.
Her intention was to have.
But, I mean, this statement really isn't true neither. I mean, the average increase is between 14 and 16. So if your increase was around that, you see little changes. If your increase was more than that, you go up. And well, not if 3 parcels go down and 15 go up. It's going to swing it.
Hey, Matt, if you go back to the town board, if you go back to the town board report, it says that we will be sending out change of assessment notices, which will indicate what their change in assessment will be for the upcoming assessment roll. I will also include the attached letter. So it looks like there's 2 pieces, the attached letter and the actual change amount that you're referring to. That's the way I interpret it, but I'm not.
I just want to make sure that's going to happen.
Yeah.
If my house stays the same, I'm not going to get one. If your house changes, you will get one plus this.
Right. That's why I want to make sure we are going to get the second page that tells us our taxes are going up or down by how much.
No. That's what I'm telling you. That was her intention to do that because the software from the state won't let her figure that dollar and cents out. Her report saying, as previously stated, I cannot make that happen. So it will say your assessment has gone from 100,000 to 110,000. That's all you're going to find out right now. She was hoping to put on the bottom of that letter, and that means that your taxes will change from $461 to $457. That's not going to happen now. What she's saying is call me and I'll tell you.
Every town in the state is going through the same problem.
You're going to have to know sometime to send out the bill.
Yes.
But every state or every town in the county is going through the same, or state is going through the same thing. Can you hear me, Matt?
Every town in the state is going through the same thing. That's what you said. Okay.
Is that true? Apparently, if it's a state software problem.
Matt, I don't know. If you want the answer, you should call the assessor.
I'm discussing it between board members because when we get calls, how come I don't know what my assessment? I just want to know what the answer is. Can I say because the state screwed up and the whole state is like that, or is it just Granville, or is it Washington County, or what is it?
Vicky's cell number is 518-902-3309. I don't know the answer, Matt. If you'd asked me 3 days ago, I would have talked to her and found the answer. Jesus. All right, local officers report. Building permits for February. Application for a barn on Mandy Spring and County Route 28. Application for mobile home permit on Gilder Hollow Road. no code enforcement appearance tickets, and no complaints. We have no animal control or dog control report, so there was nothing that came on our radar, but I will double check to make sure that's the case, but we have received nothing so far. You've all got a copy of the planning board minutes, planning board agenda.
Mhm.
This is all I have from Scott regarding the North Granville Water District. Excuse me, North Granville Highway Superintendent's report, North Granville Water District. February report, went out 11 times for snow, ice, and storms. Cut firewood on Liebing and Kennedy Road. Rebuilt doors on the grader. Painted and fixed hydraulic leaks. Serviced the trucks. Fixed the lights on the trucks. Serviced the mowing tractor. Started to replace the hydraulic cylinders on trucks. One is leaking very badly. We are having old ones rebuilt and keep exchanging the bad ones. Eventually there will be no cylinder leaks. For the month in water, 1,144,000 gallons pumped. Daily average 40,857 gallons. And I did hear from him this week that they believe that there is a leak somewhere that's gotten worse in the last couple of weeks. And they have used the sonar to find it, haven't found it. They're still working on it. They think it's a lateral leak, but they're found yesterday that they couldn't track it down as of yet. So they're going to see what they can do.
So that's why we're up 5,000 gallons a day.
He believed it started as a
Above the
smaller leak.
average.
It's gotten worse.
Yeah, okay. Frost is coming out of the ground.
Okay. Old business. We need to appoint Mike, it appears. Well, only if that's 3 votes go through that we appoint.
Want me to step out?
So we can talk about you behind your back?
Exactly. I figured I'd give you a whole month to do that, but if you need a few more minutes, I'm happy to oblige.
And Jill, Jenny, we sent this out to everybody, right?
It's in their packets, yes.
Okay, so it's a resolution
Yep.
continuing the town attorney and deputy town attorney positions and fixing the salaries for 2021. It's something we usually have, I think, in the organizational meeting, but it wasn't ready for then, so we're having it ready for now, right, Mike?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's pay starts this month?
The first 2 months are freebies.
Thought you were covering that, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be 0 for January and February, but I imagine March would be one hell of a bill. Do we have a resolution number on that, Jenny?
Number 36.
36. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 36.
I make a motion.
Tom?
Yep.
I guess I can second.
I guess Matt's going to second it. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That was a close one, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I know.
The only thing I want to discuss about the new businesses is a discussion about holding our meetings in person starting next month. Anybody, I've mentioned that to you in an email. Does anybody have any strong feelings one way or the other?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm okay too. I'm all vaccinated, so.
Matt?
I won't be fully, but that's not a problem.
Jim?
I'm all set. I'm
You're
good with
with it? Okay.
Yeah.
And Jenny, you're,
I've got my second shot on April 5th, so I'll be set.
okay.
All right.
So I need to let
That means-
Ray know if
That
we're,
means we don't have to wear masks either if everybody's vaccinated.
Stop.
No, that's what the rule is.
It
Yep.
changed.
Under 10 people, if they're all vaccinated, you don't need to wear masks. That was
Though
the
we
governor.
should,
I thought that was family.
if we sit 6 feet apart and use those plexiglass, that's probably right.
3 feet apart, but that's fine.
Okay. All right. So I'll let Ray know that we're going to be back in person next month and he can come do his thing. Then I will obviously let Austin know if in case he wants to put it in the paper, and we'll change the website. Okay.
Is he vaccinated? Austin, you vaccinated?
No.
He can sit
We'll
in the
get
back of the
along
room.
without you.
Also, I think from a couple of laptop standpoint, we could actually have Mike zoom into meetings unless it's going to be a lot going on that we're going to need him to come back in executive session and do a lot of those things. But in general, we can talk month to month if Mike can just zoom in instead of having to come to Granville. We can play that by ear. Are you guys okay with that?
Completely up to you, whatever works best, because I'm happy to make the drive. I really don't mind. So whatever works.
If we got a lot for you, it's probably a good idea, Mike. But if we don't see anything on the agenda in that regard, I think we can set up with a couple laptops and have you zoom in.
Either way is okay.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
The only other thing I wanted to talk about, because it's probably out there now, is the stimulus bill and the money that's coming to the towns and villages and counties. We were on a couple of different Zoom calls today, one with Senator Schumer to give us an idea what this is all about. As you might have seen in the paper, the allotment for Granville is $710,000. That's for the town and the village together. They have not figured out the formula on what they're going to use to split that. I'm guessing our share is going to be somewhere around $425,000, give or take. We won't see any of it for at least 60 days. It's possible we may get it in 2 installments. We get half of it up front and half of it later on. We're starting to get guidance on what we can spend it for. We were hoping it was unrestricted, just a blank check, and we can do anything we want with it. Not going to be the case. I'm going to read these to you, and I think I sent them to you, but any costs associated with the COVID-19 public health emergency, supporting workers to cover any revenue losses due to the emergency, and to make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. Funds may not be used by states or localities to cover the cost of pensions or to offset a reduction in taxes. We had a whole series of questions for the Association of Towns and for Senator Schumer today. They're going to get back to us and try to give us guidance. So all I know is we have until the end of 2024. We have 3.5 years to use this money. We're going to have lots of options. I have worked with Jenny and Julie to put together a town hall cost situation for 2020, and it's going to be several $1,000s. I've worked with Scott in the same regard, and he's come up with quite a bit of money that we spent last year on this. And also there will be a loss of revenue issue that the county's working up a number for us. So we will be getting some of this money that we can put in our own coffers, but a lot of it's going to go out for several other things. So as I get more guidance.
What about when you say water and broadband? That gets my attention. What are the requirements for that?
So I'm trying to find out whether it's the readings is like water townwide, but we have a water district.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether we can spend up to a certain percentage of that based upon what percentage the district is of our town.
Yeah.
Or whether we can spend anything we want on any water infrastructure we want. Still waiting on guidance on that. On broadband, anything we can do to improve broadband.
I think that's a necessity, given the problems the schools had, and looking at our town and towns like us in general. Everybody should have access to broadband, to the high-speed internet. And I think if we can gain something from this, that would be an important thing on my list for our town.
We had a meeting at the county today, discussed that, Tom, and we felt that it'd be very difficult for the 17 of us to try to put together 17 small broadband programs. So we'd probably work with the county, and there are basically Spectrum, Slick, and Hudson Valley Wireless are the 3 providers in Washington County. We would probably collectively work with them to try to put together a program to provide better broadband. It could be lots of different options on how to improve broadband. You may live at Matt Rathman's house where he doesn't have Spectrum, but he can see the pole from his house, and it's going to cost him $9,000 for them to dig it from that pole to his house. It would appear that if we grant him $9,000 and he gets hooked up, that would qualify, and it would go from the feds to us to Spectrum, and he'd be hooked up. Those are possibilities going forward, but we're still waiting on more guidance on this.
Mhm.
So it's continuing the next mile. There's all kinds of things we can try to do on this. We still don't know the answers on it, but at the end of 2024, if we haven't spent what they've allocated to us, we got to send it back.
Right.
So we'll spend it either on broadband or on water or something before we send it back to the feds. I'm pretty comfortable saying that.
Mhm.
So the county started about 2 months ago doing a comprehensive broadband study of the entire county, not knowing this was coming. And they're hoping by the end of the year, we'll have that to say, here's where everything's covered. And then we can try to pick and choose where we can put money into to extend it. You obviously want to spend the money efficiently so you get more people per dollar hooked up.
Right.
We'll have to see how that goes.
Right.
There also is money for not-for-profits, 501c3s. We can set up programs here in the town of Granville. Jim, are the fire companies a 501c3?
We are.
If you could document any losses due to COVID or additional expenses you had due to COVID, they could be potentially reimbursable.
Okay.
So this is a broad, huge federal program. We're just starting to get a trickle of the information. So it's a good thing we got 3.5 years to work on it.
This is right. Oh, jeez.
So we'll have more information as we go along, but it is something we can put a little shot in the arm and see how it goes. And the balance of the money that we don't get, the village gets, and they can do it doing the same thing in the village. Of course, they don't have broadband issues, but they may have water or sewer issues. There are grant programs all over the place that they can use that money for. So, Austin.
Yeah, just so I'm hearing this correctly, so this money can be allocated for any category with any loss or reimbursement due to COVID.
Costs associated with responding to the COVID-19 public health emergency or its negative economic impacts, but not limited to assistance to households, small business, not-for-profits, and aid to impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality.
Perfect. Glad I got my reporter going. I'll pick that right up.
We can set up programs for that. Doesn't mean we have to or we're going to, because we may have other needs. It's going to be different for every town. The county is going to receive just under $12 million. The state's going to receive about $12 billion. Okay, that's all I got on that.
Would any of your computer upgrades to be able to do Zoom, having to do Zoom or anything like that, would any of that fall under that?
We're going to count it.
Okay.
We're going to count it. No doubt about it. Because if we didn't do the upgrades, we wouldn't have been able to do this.
Right.
So
That's what we're going to say.
absolutely. And can you imagine how many towns there are just in New York State that are going to have all different rules on different things? I mean, I think if you can make a case that you needed to spend it because of COVID, it's going to be hard for them to deny that it qualifies.
Everything's COVID.
Well, it kind of appears to be.
I mean, every time you can't get something, it's COVID.
Right.
If somebody doesn't do their job right, it's COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. We would head to audit of bills next unless there's something else. Okay, Matt, let's start with highway townwide and highway outside.
There's no outside, just townwide.
Oh, just townwide? Okay.
All set?
Yep.
The Dana truck and the utility equipment, 561.79. American Hardware, 140.23. On 139.66. Curtis Lumber, 51.73. DeLorean Sales and Service, 25.66. Lifeco Industry, 167.96. O'Reilly's, 556.46. John Skowski, 39.60. Wholesale Distributor, 825. 825. North Track, 56.28. UAC, $3,436.75. Windmill Equipment Company, $1,589.96. Main Care, $6,455.54. Atlantic Salt, $9,051.26. Foley Distributing, $362.01. Allied Auto Parts, 1,762.94, and Mountain Medical Services, 354, for a total of 25,576. So
Second.
Second by Jim Bratt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Jim, North Granville Water?
Constellations, 187.84. Williams Water, 733.63. Main Care, 524.85. Verizon, 105.74. The total of 1,552.06. So move.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Ken?
I have Ken's, is that it?
NYSEG
Oh, he's got-
238.63. I got him.
Okay.
Spectrum 542.08. Mahoney Notified Plus 85.50. Main Care 541.49. Culligan 55.65. NYSEG 456.04. RPM 518 630. Matthew Hicks 3209. Karen Boyce-Claire 300. Main Care 1,377.77. NYSEG $18.50. CV Waste Removal 80. Constellation 207.89. Third Generation Heating and Plumbing 213.04. Baker's Burner Service 222.77. Pam Martindale 52.95. Tri-County Town Clerks Association 25. Eric Picard 120.49. Foley Services 124.64. Staples 115.05. Constellation 168.58. Totals 5,608.16. So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Tom?
North Granville Lights, NYSEG 242.63, Constellation $90.11 for a total of $332.74, and Middle Granville Lights, NYSEG 404.42, Constellation 149.51 for a total of $553.93. So move.
Like it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The one thing I forgot was Mike had emailed to me, and I think I forwarded to you guys a draft of the agreement between the town and the Pember.
Mhm.
Take a look at that, read through it. I think we'd like to kind of get moving on that if we can. I know you just got it yesterday or today. Maybe take a look at it over the weekend and then email back and try to copy me and Mike on it if you would, if any additions, deletions, corrections, amendments, issues you have, wording you want to change, just so we can kind of get that going. And when you're all comfortable with it, Mike will finalize it and we'll get it rolling.
I have one point I'd like to bring up about that.
Do we do it? We can do it in regular session, can't we, Mike?
Sure.
Okay.
The point is, and I'm still confused on the issue of whether or not Pember Library and Museum are the same or not. I'm getting two different stories. But we mentioned in that agreement, it mentions Pember Library and then Pember Library and Museum. It's either one or both. I don't know. I would just like some clarification on that. If it's only the library, then should we just be stating the library?
It's one entity.
Tim and I go ahead, Mike, go ahead.
It's one entity that does two things. So it has a charter to the Pember Library and Museum, and it operates a library and it operates a museum. Our concern is only with respect to the library, as far as I know.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
So why are we putting language in there for the museum?
Because that's the name of the entity.
That's their title.
Okay, all right, okay. All right.
Kind of like the town of Granville has a highway
Highway.
department and, a town clerk and different things, but it's all the town of Granville.
Okay. All right. I'm happy with that answer.
Okay, so if you have any issues, please get them back to Mike. And if not, by Monday or Tuesday, if I haven't heard anything, then I'll get together with Mike and we'll finalize it up and get her rolling.
Okay.
I got one more thing before we
Shoot.
go into executive session. On the building permits, I see there's a mobile home permit. Is Tom working with Bill on that?
Hang on.
That's the one that we did, isn't it, Matt?
That is the one. That's the one we talked about. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already,
2015. Yep.
Yeah.
I brought,
2015?
yeah, the
Oh,
one,
okay.
they're taking out one and they're putting a 2015 in there.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Yep.
yeah, so we checked it over and it meets all the requirements. Everything looked good on the application.
Is this a new or a replacement?
Replacement.
Replacement. So we're getting an upgrade, really. You know, it's going from an older, very old mobile home to a relatively new one.
Okay, unless there's anything else, make sure I do this right, Mike. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for guidance from council. And do I also want to use one of the 8 reasons we go into executive session and state it in the minutes or not, Mike?
Well, you're either going to go into executive session, in which case you need to state one of the reasons, or you're going to go into closed session to get advice from legal counsel. But they're 2 separate things. So I would say at this point in time, you want to go into closed session to get legal advice from legal counsel on pending legal matters.
Okay.
That sounds good to me.
Jenny, you okay with the wording on that?
Yes.
Okay, so Matt moved it apparently, right? Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
We got a couple of seconds. All right, all in favor?
All right.
And Mike, I believe from the open meetings law, we can adjourn right out of executive session. As long as I tell Jenny who moved and who seconded it, we don't have to come back into regular session necessarily, do we?
Yeah, no, essentially you're closing your meeting at this point in time. It would be no different than if I kind of, we all got together outside of a meeting and you met with your lawyer to get legal advice. That wouldn't be part of a town board meeting.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So we can kick out Austin, we can kick out Jenny, and then we'll be all set, right?
Will.
Okay, so we have that motion. Did I say all in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Okay. We'll see you guys. You too.
Toodles. See you later.
And
Mhm.
I am going to stop recording.